Hi everybody, my name's Jay Calenad, author of Relics of Hyrule, and welcome back to another Relics of Hyrule video guide video. This video is about the archive, and my goal is to outline what the archive is, what you can expect from it, how to use it, where to find it, and some details there. So I'll get through some spoiler-free territory first, and then we're going to get into some spoiler stuff. So, if you don't want any spoilers, I'll tell you basically what to expect from the archive. It's a museum space. It's a very simple, no-frills museum space. I'm not in the archive right now. I'm in Kina Langenzel Depths, and my followers keep pushing me around. So, don't worry about whether this is a spoiler for the archive. This is just Kina Langenzel Depths. It's not Legacy of the Dragonborn. The archive is not Legacy of the Dragonborn. So if you're going into the archive thinking, oh, it's a museum space, it's going to be like Legacy. It's not going to be like Legacy of the Dragonborn. I don't know. I don't use Legacy of the Dragonborn. I don't like Legacy of the Dragonborn. And so when I built the archive, I did not use Legacy of the Dragonborn as a basis. So please do not expect the archive to be like Legacy of the Dragonborn, because it's not. So if you go into it and you're disappointed, sorry, but there's nothing I can do about that. What to expect? It's a small aspect of an already huge mod. So the focus of the archive is to support Relics of Hyrule. It's not to be the main focus of the mod. Like I said, it's no frills. It was designed from a certain perspective, so it's not 100% clear where everything goes, but you can get hints and stuff that are... There's a system in the archive itself that helps you find some things out, and there's some organization, so items are grouped together in sort of similar logical ways, but things fall into place as you use it, just like the mod. And it's not set in stone. It is designed to expand and change as the mod grows and changes. It would be very silly for me to add a museum space and then I add boomerangs, and oh, the boomerangs aren't in the archive because the archive is done. That's it. No boomerangs in the archive. No. When boomerangs come along, if boomerangs come along, I will add them to the archive. So the archive will grow and it will change. But I can't change it super much. I can't change it a ton. I can change some aspects of it. For instance, where items are in a specific room. So if there's an item in a room, I can move it to another side of the room. But I can't really take one item from one room and put it in a completely different place of the archive. Because I would have to unravel all this scripting that is sort of set, and it would take a lot. So, in terms of scripting, if it involves scripting in any way, it took so long to set up how the archive is set up, so I don't want to redo it. There's some things that can change, but drastic overhauls can't happen. So I'm open to suggestions, and I'm open to feedback to an extent. And of course, if there's a bug, definitely tell me about the bug. If there's some issue, if something isn't displaying right, tell me, and I'll fix it. Also, crafting areas do not appear in the archive. You'll not be able to use a forge or anything like that in the archive. I'm not adding those, and I'm also not adding freeform displays. So the only things that are going into the archive are Relics of Hyrule items. Okay. Now then, let's get into the archive itself. To use it, there's information inside. There's no quests or journal entries or anything like that. You find an item, you bring it to the archive. Find where it goes, you activate a thing, and then boom, it's on display. It doesn't leave your inventory, you don't need to duplicate it or anything. Once you fill a display, then you can learn information about it. If you have a fully improved item, like, say, the True Master Sword, this is the Corrupt Master Sword, but if you had the True Master Sword, then the lesser items will fill in. And some items fill in based on how you do things outside of the archive, but most of them are inside. And there's instructions when you visit it. So, where do you find it? When you get a certain item and do a certain thing and get another certain item associated with that certain item and explore a certain area, you'll be able to access the archive. And you'll be able to return to the archive from anywhere using the item that you find there. This is Kina Langdonzell Depths. The archive is not in Kina Langdonzell Depths, but you can access it from Kina Langdonzell if you have a certain thing and you've done a certain thing. Okay. Huh? Yes, exactly right, Anska. I'm trying to be vague because I don't want to give away spoilers. This is not like a major hint, but you can reach it from Kina Langdonzell Depths once you've gotten to a certain place in the mod. Okay. That is the end of the spoiler-free section. So if you don't want any more spoilers, leave now. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the archive. Good luck finding it. Good luck working with it. Because now I'm going to spoiler the heck out of things. Because I need to talk freely about what the archive is all about. Okay. So, if you are okay with spoilers, I am now going to tell you how to get to the archive. Here's the process. You need the Song of Time. Bam. You get it from Thorol Host. That's the only place you can get the Song of Time. You used to be able to get it from Falmer and other stuff. You can only get it from Thorol Host. You also need the Ocarina of Time, which you find in Kina Langdonzell Shrine after you defeat the Silver Centurion. I already have the Ocarina of Time. You play the Ocarina of Time, you play the Song of Time, at one of these gates. There's one in Kina Langdonzell, there's one in Morwidijal, there's one in Itnamzand. You play it. The gate opens. You go inside, there's stuff back here, you grab that stuff, and then you enter the Link Between Worlds. Once you've entered the Link Between Worlds, you go toward this gate right here, and you turn left. Right here. You go into the Freezing Caves. Freezing Caves. Now, go this way, you turn left, you keep on going, woo, right down the way, woo, right down that way, go through this thing, there you go, and you keep on going, you keep on going, you keep on going, and right here, there's nothing, but right here, you find Kakariko Chapel. And that brings you to Kakariko Chapel. In Kakariko Chapel, you have the Golden Goddess statues. Behind it leads to Kakariko Village. Once you're in Kakariko Village, it becomes pretty straightforward. You turn left. The air is treacherously cold. You keep on going, you go through the graveyard, and then there's them. How's it going, them? And then you see that glowing ball of light, you want to touch it, and in previous versions of the mod you could not reach that, but now there's a very obvious crystal that goes straight up, and then you can climb on here, you can look into the distance, you can see the terrible LOD that I have set up, where that mountain in the upper right is kind of clipping in and out because everything's awful and I hate it and I can't fix it and I don't know how. And then, so you have this tower and there's a staircase and you go up and then you fall off. That is not necessary. You can go up and not fall off if you want to. But, glowing ball, you're in. Now you are in the archive. This is the archive. There's the glowing ball. The air is warm here. And now you're in the archive. So, you see the Harp of Ages? Boom, Harp of Ages. Tune of Currents. What is the Tune of Currents, you may ask? Well, you can learn the Tune of Currents, and it says, transport the caster to the archive. Requires the Harp of Ages. I don't know why it says I already know it. I don't. I just learned it. You can use the Tune of Currents, but you need the Harp of Ages in your inventory, just like the Ocarina of Time. And then you can cast it, and it says you're already in the archive center. But you can exit the archive. And by default, if you do that, it'll just plop you into the Link Between Worlds. But whenever you use the Tune of Currents, it will actually place a marker where you were, and it will warp you to the archive center. So now when you exit the archive, it'll plop you where you were. So you can see I cast the Tune of Currents where I was here, and it placed a marker where I was, and then plopped me over here. It functions very similar to Hylia's Denial, and very similar to Faror's Wind. It actually uses the same script as Hylia's Denial. There's one slight flaw with it. If you're in a room, like if you used one of these orbs and you go into a room of the archive, then what the Tune of Currents does is it places a marker in that room and then warps you to the center, which is a little annoying because then you can't leave the archive except through the Kakariko Village orb. You can always leave the archive. You just have to either use the Tune of Currents or Kakariko Village. I am working on making it so that the Tune of Currents recognizes whether you're in the archive proper, but also, I don't know, it might stay the way that it is, it might not. It all depends on whether I can get it to do what I want. Anyway, so we're in the archive, and there's a lot here. There's a lot to soak in, but there are 2 crystals here, and if you've used the Link Between Worlds, you'll know that these crystals are activators. So one tells you that the archive contains artifacts from Hyrule and associated realms. It's attended to by them, who only seek knowledge. Interact with crystals like this one to fill displays of various relics of Hyrule. Roll credits. The display will detect items in your inventory and add to display accordingly. You will not lose your items. When full, a display will provide information pertaining to featured items. And then this one. Each hall in the archive contains distinct features. Hall of Legends, Holy Blessed or Legendary items. Hall of Rarities, Uncommon items. Hall of Devotion, items with sentimental value. Hall of Monsters, Cursed creatures and constructs. Hall of Life, plants and creatures. Hall of Prominence, unique items. And Prevalence is common items. So Rarities is uncommon items, things that you could craft or find somewhere kind of rarely. Hall of Prominence are unique things that you can't really craft, but they're not like legendary. They're just unique. There are 2 halls missing, so you see that there's this gap here. Everything seems to be equidistant from everything else, and there's this big gap right here. Once you progress in the mod, you'll get another one here that gives you information about them, but then there's 2 spaces that are missing. That is because I am working on the Hall of Literature and the Hall of Memories. Those will have books and locations. But more on that, I'll have a separate video about those. This is just basic archive. Now, the other thing you can do in the Archive Center is this big black box. That is the Resonator. Resonator. Place items in this container. If an item resonates with the archive, you will be notified of the hall in which it can be displayed. Lovely sound. So, if you take an item, like an Amber Relic, it'll say, this item resonates with the Hall of Rarities, and it will give you back that item. And if it doesn't, it's in the Resonator. It's a container. So if it doesn't give you back for whatever reason, then no worries. Something like the Ancient Core resonates with the Hall of Rarities. Blue Rupee, just 1, thank you. Hall of Prevalence. But something like Bread, no resonance found. Cane of Samaria, Hall of Prominence. Attunement Sphere, no resonance found. So, if something is obviously Relics of Hyrule, you know it's Relics of Hyrule, and it doesn't tell you, let me know, but also make a note of what it is. If it's a note, like this is a Relics of Hyrule item, but no resonance found because the hall doesn't exist yet. Things like that, or the keys. This is obviously, this is a Relics of Hyrule item, but it resonates with the Hall of Life, so there is a resonance there. Something like this, no resonance found. So, if it doesn't resonate, there's either a reason for it, the hall doesn't exist yet, or I made a mistake. So if you think something should go, like if you fill out the rupee display and you tried to put in a rupee and it says no resonance found, let me know, something like that. If it's obvious that it's supposed to have resonance with something in the archive, let me know. Okay. That's the Resonator. Really great hint system. At some point I might expand the functionality, but right now it's fine. Also, there's the storage sector. Boop. And these are containers. These two are unsorted, so you can just put any random junk in there. And bear claws, I don't know. Any random junk. There you go. And you can just get it right back. But the other stuff is filtered. So ores and ingots, if I try to put arrows in there, it says nope. That container does not hold that kind of item. But if I put in, say, malachite ore or calcum ingot, then it'll be like, okay, yeah, cool. So you can use this to sort items, and people have used it to just like, there's mods that add like add all or add most or something like that, and so people have just gone you know, and just filtered out their inventories using these. So it's very open. Sometimes it doesn't react the way you would expect. So like bedroll is clutter, so that works, but like charred fragments are misc, but it doesn't like it. So sometimes the filters are a little picky and it's a little confusing how things fit in. Also, the colors of the weapons versus the armor is a little, like, depending on your textures and stuff, like, that's armor, that's weapons. They're both orange, but this is, like, bright orange, and that's, like, duller. So the colors might tweak at some point, but it doesn't matter. They are sort of color-coded, which is what I was getting at. But you can see that the color coding isn't perfect. That's pretty much it with the storage. Like, it's a storage system. Really easy. This jewelry and mask, it's only Relics of Hyrule masks. So if it's a mask from a different mod, it won't accept it. Unfortunately. And clothing storage is one of those that could be kind of funky. But it doesn't matter, because you have these two. So that's storage. Also, these spots on the walls, there's a pattern to them. You may be able to recognize that one. There's some that you might actually be able to recognize very easily. Like that one you may be able to recognize. That one you may be able to recognize. That one you may be able to recognize. And this one's probably the most obvious one. Yeah. Okay. So let's explore the different areas of the archive. We already explored Kakariko Village. We've already went into the storage sector. So let's just start with the Hall of Monsters and just work our way around. So, Hall of Monsters. As you can see, it's empty. Except for the stall horse, I'm going to write that down. Fortunately, if something like this happens where it's sort of being obnoxious, the display has a functionality where it'll scoot it back to where it's supposed to be. Oh. Hello, Parotamu. So you can just sort of activate different ones, and it will put on different displays. So I have an amber relic, and so I put on display of the blue nameless. So that's basically how it works. Here's the Hall of Life. This is the only hall that has a day-night cycle, but you can't wait in the archive. You can't wait in the archive. You have to leave and then come back. So if you're not happy with the time of day, then you have to leave and come back. Big obvious thing here is Chateau Romani. Chateau Romani is a food item that cures poisons, cures paralysis, increases magicka, cures disease, and regenerates magicka. So it's a really good magic potion. So they are based on a creature from Majora's Mask. And so I just took it and ran with it. The idea of them abducting cows. So these are the actual Romani cows. And cuckoos! White chickens, cuckoo chicks. These are all ghosts. Well, they're technically ghosts. They're not, you can't do anything with them. So you used to be able to kill them. You can't. Can't do anything. Everything in the archive is classified as a ghost, and so you can't kill it. Like a proper ghost. You can't kill it. Cows are semi-transparent if you're looking, if they're like in your peripheral vision. I don't know why. And that's something I'm working on. Let's go to Hall of Prominence. This is one-of-a-kind items. So let's see if I have any of these. Yeah, so the medallions. But yeah, so the Hall of Prominence, just go around, clicky click. I understand that it could be a little... Oh, there's the Cane of Samaria. I have that. It could be a little tricky, like, as the mod gets bigger and bigger. I mean, it's already huge. There are actually like 250 displays in this area, in the archive itself. I understand that it could get confusing where everything goes, but the Resonator really narrows it down pretty well. And if you have the Cane of Samaria, for instance, where'd it go? There it is. So if you have the Cane of Samaria, you know that there's like a few more that go in that. So if you find another cane, chances are it goes here. I might add a system where it tells you or marks where things go, but I don't know how complicated that would be. I don't want to promise that. But yeah, so it's one-of-a-kind items. Things like masks would go here. So there's the Fierce Deities mask. I'm actually wearing that right now, and you can see it did not take it from me. Mask of Truth, that's in my inventory, and it did not take it from me. Boom. So you don't have to worry about losing items or making duplicates or anything like that. Hall of Prominence. Let's go Hall of Prevalence. The Hall of Prevalence is generic stuff. So just stuff that you can find anywhere. Really easy. Like forgotten weapons. See if I have any on myself. Doesn't look like it. Do I have any bombs? Oh, there's my forgotten dagger. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to react. The script is very long. Has to check every possible possibility. There's the rupees, and there's a second floor right up here. And this will be all the armors. I think I have a cap that should react, like the Zora cap. There it is. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. There's no reward for completing the entire archive except a sense of self-satisfaction. So, I'm sorry if that disappoints you. The archive is ever expanding, so it's just kind of strange. It would be kind of weird for me to have a reward in that sense. The reward for completing the archive is completing the archive. This is a great tutorial area because the Harp of Ages is like guaranteed. If you find the archive, you have the Harp of Ages. And this is like legendary items. There's the Master Sword display right here, complete with pedestals. So there's the Corrupt Master Sword. That's the one I have. And it puts the scabbard on display. Like I said, if you have the other ones, so for instance, I don't have the Sleeping Master Sword anymore, which would go there. But once I fully awaken it, then everything fills in. If you fully corrupt it, then you don't get the full display. You have to purify it in order to get everything. We have Hall of Rarities. This is it's somewhat generic stuff, so it's stuff that you can craft, but it's rare. Or you can, it's like infinite, you can find it pretty much anywhere, but it's rare. Things like Goron weapons would go here. Nothing's really displaying, because I don't really have anything. See if there's anything that reacts. I should have a Gerudo weapon, shouldn't I? Ah, there we go. So I have... Ooh, I'm dehydrated. I have an Ancient Core, so that went there. And then the last one is the Hall of Devotion. So this is things like things that are closely related to Link or Zelda or Ganon. Things with like sentimental value, and the Hylian shields would go here as well. I think I have one in my inventory. If I don't, nope, I don't. Okay. Let's see if I have anything. I have the hero's glass armor. That should appear. There it is. Yeah, so there's a hero's glass armor, and you can see I can't interact with it. It's blocked off. But I also have the script set up so that if it's sticking out for whatever reason, you can't actually take it. So you can't actually like duplicate things. I made sure that it was not possible to duplicate things. That's the last thing I want people to be able to do. That's the archive. I showed you all the rooms, all the halls that are currently in this version of the archive. It will expand over time. This was a lot of work. Archive has been planned for years. Pretty much as soon as I added them, I knew that they were going to run the archive. And always I'm open to feedback, but just be respectful, especially with the archive. It's probably the most work I've ever done for the mod. I was working on it from July through December, actively working on it and planning it for even longer, and this appearance is what it looks like after like 3 different iterations of what the archive could look like. So I put so much work into it, and I like how it is, so if you don't like it, well, there's nothing I can do about that. If you have any questions, the best way is the Relics of Hyrule Discord or on the Relics of Hyrule mod page. It's hard to answer YouTube comments. I'm not always notified if someone leaves a comment, so send me a message on, or leave a comment on Discord, send me a message on Discord, or on the Nexus. But if you have like negative criticism, just be respectful. Like, if there's something that you think could be improved, I'm open to the feedback, but just be respectful. Just keep in mind that I'm one guy, and be understanding if there's something about this that literally cannot change. Anyway, I think that's it. So, hope this was informative, and I hope you enjoy the archive. You are not supposed to be eating. You are not human. You are not supposed to eat. Especially not bread. What are you doing? What are you doing? If you look at their robes, you might be able to see some little sparkles. That's actually a galaxy. I used the galaxy for the normal map on their robes, which is pretty cool. I am very hungry. Give me that bread.